Well, Mazel Tov to my special son, my firstborn, Bechor, and I'm glad you achieved what you did. We worked hard on it. We have come to the first step where you have to be. And go from here, Michael.
Mazel Tov. It's a great pleasure to be here. We found good reason to come after all. After 7.5 years, you have something to celebrate, it seems to me. So next time around, more Hatzlacha.
We're so happy to be here. We're very proud of our son-in-law and delighted that this turned out for this very special occasion.
Tov, Robbie, and everybody else on this very, very wonderful special occasion.
Chicago on this wonderful occasion, albeit for only a few hours. We look forward to doing it again in the near future, at least in 7 years or so.
Bernie, how do I hear you back, Bernie? If we don't get seated quickly, Barry will leave before we...
What are you going to do now? You're going to start to see it now? What you want to do?
Six camera?
What's your look like? If you want to get them together, I'll take a picture. You want to try to get together with the kids?
Not now, later, after very late. I'd like to thank everybody who's here, who came, and I'll give more details thank yous later on. We want to proceed with the program as we have a very busy schedule tonight. On the tables, you have this sheet, which has some of the material from my speech later on. You can read it now, and I'll try and give the abbreviated version later. But it also has the last few lines of the Sefas Nida, which we can all follow along together and make the Siyum. Amalei Rav Shmaya Rav Abba. Rav Shmaya said to Rav Abba, Ema, let's say, be a mama to have a zava, that a woman who becomes a zava only during the day. V'lelia to have a nida, and at night she is a nida. In other words, there are two states of impurity in which a woman might be, nida and zava, and nida, it seems, nida is the first 7 days, and then subsequently, those who have been in Daf Yomi are very used to these concepts by now. The next 11 days are Ziva days. Well, since Ziva is related in the Torah to the word Yom, so perhaps you can only become a Zava during the day and not at night. We need a pasuk to teach us that one can become a Zava at night as well. Amar Le, so Rav Abba responded to Rav Shmaya, Alech Amar Kra, concerning you, meaning concerning your question, the Torah, the pasuk says, Al Nidasa, that the Ziva period, which is the next 11 days immediately after the 7 days of Nida are completed, begins immediately upon the completion of the Nida period. Samuch l'Nidasa, immediately adjacent to the Nida period. Ema al Nidasa samuch l'Nidasa, samuch l'Nidasa emas have. When is it immediately adjacent to the Nida period? Ba'layla, at night. Because there's 7 days of Ziva, and they are there day, night, day, night, day, night. Night, day, night, day, night, day. And they end at the end of a day. And the next time, I knew you were waiting for me to mess up. And the next time she sees the night right afterwards, it's considered to be already a Ziva, because it's Samuch l'Nidasa. The Kakari le Zava. And at that point, when it's Al Nidasa, immediately adjacent and subsequent to her Nida, that's when she becomes a Zava. And the Gemara Shas Ba'atam Bavli ends with a Dvar Agadata, which we'll talk about later on. Tana de Elio, we learned from Elio Anovi, Kol HaShoyneh Halachos B'chol Yom, anybody who pursues the study of halachos each and every day, Muftach Lo Shu Ben Olam Haba. He should be certain, he is promised that he is affiliated, he's a son literally of the world to come. Shneimar, as it says, Halichos Olam Lo. Halichos, somebody who has halichos, we darshan the pasuk, olam lo. He has the world. Al tikri halichos, do not read this pasuk halichos, but which would mean the pathways, but rather we darshan it to mean here to mean halachos, to mean somebody who studies halacha each and every day. Hadrolach Meseches Nida v'Adrochalon, Datanolach Meseches Nida v'Datachalon, Lo Nisnishe Minoch Meseches Nida v'Lo Tisnishe Minon, Lo V'Amodim v'Lo V'Amodosi. Hadrolach Meseches Nida v'Adrochalon, Datanolach Meseches Nida v'Datachalon, Lo Nisnishe Minoch Meseches Nida v'Lo Tisnishe Minon, Lo V'Amodim v'Lo V'Amodosi. Hadrolach Meseches Nida v'Adrochalon, Datanolach Meseches Nida v'Datachalon, Lo Nisnishe Minoch Meseches Nida v'Lo Tisnishe Minon, Lo V'Amodim v'Lo V'Amodosi. Hadrolach Talmud Bavli v'Adrochalon. Datalach Talmud Bavli v'Datachalon. Lo nisnashim minoch Talmud Bavli, lo tisnashim minon lo ba'ama adem lo ba'ama dosi. Hadrolach Talmud Bavli v'Adrochalon. Datalach Talmud Bavli v'Datachalon. Lo nisnashim minoch Talmud Bavli, lo tisnashim minon lo ba'ama adem lo ba'ama dosi. Hadrolach Talmud Bavli v'Adrochalon. Datalach Talmud Bavli v'Datachalon. Lo nisnashim minoch Talmud Bavli, lo tisnashim minon lo ba'ama adem lo ba'ama dosi. Yiratzon milfanecho Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avosenu, she'eito oschom u'nosenu b'olam hazeh, u'seimonu l'olam haba. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achoy bar Papa, Abamori bar Papa, Rafon bar Papa, Rachish bar Papa, Suchov bar Papa, Ada bar Papa, Doru bar Papa. Harevnu Adonai Eloheinu es divrei soloscha, b'finu v'fiyos amcha beis Yisrael, v'niyeh kulanu anachnu, v'tzetzoeinu, v'tzetzoei amcha beis Yisrael, kulanu yodei shemecha, v'lomdei sorosecha. Me'oivai chachmeni mitzvosecha ki yolam ili. Nihili bi tamim b'chukecha, l'man lo yivosh. L'olam l'ashkach b'kudecha, ki vom chi yisoni. Baruch ato Adonai, l'amdeni chukecha, amen, 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 sela v'oeh. מודים אנחנו לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ששמת חלקנו מיושבי בית המדרש ולא שמת חלקנו מיושבי קרונוס שאנו משכימים והם משכימים אנו משכימים לדברי תורה והם משכימים לדברים בטלים אנו עמלים והם עמלים אנו עמלים ומקבלים שכר והם עמלים ואינו מקבלים שכר אנו רוצים והם רוצים אנו רוצים לחיי העולם הבא והם רוצים לבל שחס שנאמר, ואתו תורידם לבל שחס, אנשי דומים ומילמה, לא יחצו ימיהם, ואני אפתח בך. יהי רצון לפניך, אדוני אלוהינו, כשם שעזרתנו לסיים תלמוד בבלי, כן תעזרנו להשכיל למסכתות וספרים אחרים ולסיימם, ללמוד וללמד, לשמור ולעשות ולקיים את כל דברי סלמוד תורתך באהבה. וזכוס כל התנועים והאמוראים ותלמידי חכמים יעמוד לנו ולזרענו שלא תמוש התורה מפינו ומפי זרענו וזרע זרענו עד עולם. תזכיים בנו ויסלחך תנחה עוזך ושוכבך תשמור עליך והקיצוצה היא ששיחך. כי עביר ירבו ימיך ויוסיפו לך שנות חיים. אורך ימים בימינו בשמאלה עושר וכבוד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו והשלום.
סקדל ויסקדש שמי רבו, יום עדיהו עשית להסחדשו ולאחיו מסייעו ולעסוקו ישכון לחיי עולמו ולבני ומבחי קרתו בירושלים ולשחללו החלי בגבו ומקר פולחנו נוכרו מן ערו ולעשותו פולחנו די שמיולי לעשרי וימליך קדושו ברכו ומלכוסי וקורא ויצמיח וקרנה וקורא ושיחי חיי כהן ובימי כהן וחיי דכל בית ישראל בגולו בזמן קורא וימרומם יספור Yisbarach, Yishtabach, Yispor, Yisraman, Yisnase, Yisador, Yisale, Yisalosh, Medukudusha, Berevu, Layla, Minkol, Bikosov, Shirosov, Jishbukosov, Nechamosov, Damiram, Biamov, Yimrame, Al Yisrael, Al Rabbonom, Bial Tamidehom, Bial Kol, Tamide, Samidehom, Bial Komondos, Kim, Bioraiso, Di Biaskor, Hadim, Bidi, Bukol Asar, Basar, Nehelo Homokol, Shlomo Rabbo, Chino, Bechisto, Berachamim, Bechaina, Rikim, Mizome, Reviche, Furkonom, Kodam, Abuhan, Di Bishmayo, Biarov, Yimrame, Nehe Shlomo Rabbo, Min Shemai, Bechaim, Tovim, Aleinu, Biako, Yisrael, Yimrame, Ozi Shalom, Birmamov, Yasa Shalom, Aleinu, Biako, Yisrael, Yimrame.
Baruch Elokeinu, Shebranu L'Chodo, Ve'im Nikonu Min HaTorim, V'nosavonu Torah
video camera.
Our Shiur is sponsored by a synthesis of two wonderful reach-out type organizations. One of them is Congregation Bnei Ruven. In the years that I've been coming here recently to daven and for the Shiur, I've acquired a deep and profound respect for its Morad Asra, especially his intellect and also keen sense of humor. It's my pleasure to call upon Rabbi Harold Schusterman.
I actually must say that I stand in awe and reverence before a kehillah, in this instance, the many of the Jungelite who are part of the Daf Yomi. And when you think in terms of you who have gone through entire HaShas in the course of these years, so I can't help but feel that I really should mention this and say that I have to already stand with another feeling, a feeling of reverence. There are minhagim, and I see that another brilliant something came out of this. Minhagim that we was talking about in the month of Elul. And as the Gemara, then again, when you're talking to people who went through HaShas, so we can throw the Gemara Krisis, we can throw a Gemara Herius, and it's all before you. It's an open book. You just got through learning that. And you have the Inyan of Simone Milze, Omer Abaya, that we have those things that will, in some mention, connote of Inyan of Broche, an inyan of Mazel Tov, an inyan that will possibly manifest good wishes. And because of that, so the Gemara tells you that you have the minhagim of eating various foods that we're going to do on the Rosh Hashanah period. They're kol echad ve'echad according to his minhag. Especially the Ramaz remark that, and this became more universal, the tapuach, the dvash, the honey, and the apple. And this all became an inyan of simone. More than that, there are certain foods that the minhag became that you eat, that the translation of the word is an inyan of siman tov. For example, I'm sure that many of you have the custom to eat tzimis, Rosh Hashanah time, the candied carrots. And why do we do that? Well, it so happened that the name for carrots in Yiddish is merm. And to multiply, we say farmerm. So hence we eat even that, so that it should be some remark of merm. Now let's come down to the group of a Siyum. I thought it was a very brilliant thing when I heard that you're having Chinese food. And I thought to myself, beautiful idea, because China in Hebrew is sin. Samach Yud Nun. All you do is add another Yud, and you have Sinai. Well, I thought, this is a wonderful idea. Whoever thought of that, all of a sudden Chinese food. When you get through with the HaShas, this is Pasha Torah Misinai. And every word is Torah Misinai. The Goyen wants to make 48 something mitzvahs out of every word that you say in HaShas. So there it is. If you ate the food, or you're eating the food, that applies itself to the occasion. So we give a yashiko to whoever thought about that. Coming a little bit down to our own, I thank Bert for his kind remarks. Bnei Ruven are very proud that throughout the course of the years, even prior to the Daf Yomi, we've already had an early Shiur, also by Rabbi Bechafer, and within time it just transferred itself over to the Daf Yomi, and we were fortunate to have one like Rabbi Bechafer who has attracted people to himself in the course of Shiurim. As a Maggid Shiur par excellence. In fact, his loud voice we hear even where I sit during the davening. Doesn't disturb at all. Can't disturb. Taylor doesn't disturb. And every once in a while I will hear the way he sings into the Gemara Nigun. I thought to myself, it could be one of two things. Either to keep you boys awake, or, and I go for the or much better, that he himself is so enthused in the learning that it becomes contagious. And hence all of you respond accordingly and it reflects back to you. So there's no question that we are most fortunate that we have Rabbi Bechav as a Maggid Shiur, and the Daf Yomi has shown itself, attracted people from various areas to come special to want to hear a shiur. But I do marvel at the fact that 6:30 every morning, an entire beautiful group and a large group, Lefi Erech. We're never pleased with large. We want to feel that many more should be able to attend. There's always a little fault attached to that. We become the hisboilus at the very beginning, and after that it begins to peter down a little. However, though, they still remain with a goodly group, a beautiful group. And grew, in fact. That's right. So that alone growth, the simon of levitikait, chayis. Allow me just merely a little remark, and I'm taking this privilege a bit. There are many, many Rosh Tevis that deal with Elul. Many of you know the immediate Rosh Tevis that Halacha brings down. But more than that, you have, for example, the Tzei Hamata would bring down on the Mati Evrayim. Oh, just a world of Rosh Tevis. Everything in Torah, the Rosh Tevis isn't just a fancy something, or something cute. We apply it then. It's a sign that if Torah puts these letters there, it belongs. The issue is there. The teaching is there. When you come along and you tell me, Anila Dedi V'Dedi Li, so you know that it's trying to tell you that communicate with your God. That tefillah should be as it should be in the month of Elul. Or Ishla Le'ehu, Matanas Le'evyonim, and so forth. All of these beautiful inyanim. Among the many, many, there is the Ino Le'yodai V'samti L'chamokim. Alakim Ino Le'yodai. There's a law of cities of refuge, or a miklot, and there's an expression in Mishpatim. Ino Le'yodai, God made it happen. Here is one who murdered someone b'shegeg, not willingly, not intentionally. And hence you have Ino Le'yodai, that's Aleph Lamed. V'samti l'cha mokem, I will make for you the city of refuge. There's V'samti l'cha, there's the Vav Lamed. So here are 4 words that give you Rosh Tevis Elul. So then it belongs. Just like you had the Ir Miklot, you had the city of refuge. At that time where one was a Herig V'Shegeg, one who did kill unintentionally, V'Shegeg. So Elul, in a spiritual vein, you have those who are also, who kill their neshomeh unintentionally, by way of a lack of learning, a lack of mitzvahs. Each one makes their own cheshbon. And Elul is the Ir Miklot, becomes the city of refuge. That means that during the month of Elul we awaken ourselves to want to know that we sit down to a shiur, we sit down to learn, we sit down to a little bit greater Kabbalah Sa'el. Tefillah B'tzibur, man has to make a cheshbon. Why am I killing my neshama, even though unintentionally? We don't have that in mind. But however, the mere thought alone that we're lax with the tefillah b'tzibur, kriya, kedusha, kodesh baruch, baruch hu, and so forth down the line, and especially when it comes to limud haTorah. Baruch Hashem, when you see the glory and the greatness and the beauty and the majesty that comes with the accomplishment, the achievement of ganz HaShas, think about it. The more you give it a thought, the more you're overwhelmed with that thought. How many have aspired to want to go through Shas? And here is, you have a Magid Shiur, people are learning, it's already there for you. Keshulchan ha'oruch, there it is, before you. As you begin the new cycle, we can want to encourage definitely that not only to come to this year, but to stay with it. And to know that while there may be the difficulties and the time and the fatigue and whatever have you in getting up early, but in the long run, as the days go through and the months and the years, what a beautiful thought. Another Masechta finished, another Masechta, another Masechta. This is ours. It's our wealth. It's our Torah. And if only more and more can be touched by it. I want to take this moment also, not only in gratitude to Rabbi Bechafa and to all of those who attend these shiurim, and Gam Pluchem Deal. There's no question that there isn't anything more glorious. And there's, Rabbi Isai is Megalgal in Schus, Liyain Zakai. This is the month of Elul. Bashert, finishing Shas in the month of Elul, beginning Shas all over again in the month of Elul. This alone gives it a certain polish. And if only you take advantage in Cheshbon HaNefesh. I also want to, at this point, also pay tribute to one who was giving our Shiur and Daf Yomi. We had a Daf Yomi in the evening as well. And Rabbi Kudmer Zochreinu Livrocha was giving that Shiur for a period of time. And we also had a nice little turnout. Not as strong as our morning minyan, but when you have 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and sitting at a night shiur, Daf Yomi, that in itself was to us a glorious thing. Morning and evening Daf Yomi. The month of Elul is his yahrzeit. This happens to be the first yahrzeit. I think it would not be out of place if I'd ask all of you to please rise and we'd make a mo'erachim. Lezecher Nishmosei, and that he be an Elis Yesher for his Rebbetzin, his entire Mishpache, and an Elis Yesher for Klal Yisrael. El Modi Rachmim Shechim Bamarim Hamzim Ruchon Al Kampi Ashchina. Bemal is Kadeshim Tavirim Gizorakim Asim Es Nishmas Harabi Hushua Rachem Breb Harab El Kona Pinchas Sheholach Li Olamo. Avush and Mispar Liman Askaras and Shmosuk Ganay Tim no Chasa. Lochim Balaram Avim Yastulay Pesisir Klaf of Leolamim Isro Bisrachaim is Nishmosu and Layman Achosov. Thank you so much, and with Hatzlach.
It's now my pleasure to call on our associate Magid Shiur, Jeffrey Zeller, who will start the next Masechta. After that, we'll have dinner.
I'd like to give my hodas to HaKadosh Baruch Hu for enabling me to learn Daf Yomi this last 7.5 years. I also like to give HaKadosh Tov to Rabbi Yosef Bechafa for all his efforts in the last 7.5 years teaching us Daf Yomi. The first Mishnah in Brachos talks about when is the time to begin the obligation of saying Kriya Shema in the evening. Me'emosai Korina Shema ba'arvin. When do we begin to say Kriya Shema in the evening? The Mishnah continues, Misha'ah she'hakohanim nichnasim lachal b'trumasam. It begins when the Kohanim begin to eat their truma. A Kohen who's tameh is asur to eat truma. When he becomes tahor, he has to go to the mikveh during the day, and he has to wait till Tzeitzah Kochavim in order to eat truma when he's tahor. So the Mishnah says that's the time when we begin saying Kriya Shema. The chiyuv begins is at Tzeitzah Kochavim. The reason why the Mishnah is such a strange lashon of saying Tzeitzah Kochavim, you'll have to go to Daf Yomi to hear the answer to that. The chiyuv of saying Kriya Shema at night ends Ad Sof HaShmura Harishona Divrei Rebbe Lazar. Rebbe Lazar says it ends at the first watch. The night is divided into three sections, and at the end of the first section is when the obligation to say Kriya Shema ends, according to Rebbe Lazar. The Chachamim Ad Chatzos. The Chachamim say it ends at Chatzos, at midnight. Rabbi Gamliel Omer Ad She'ala Amot HaShachar. Rabbi Gamliel says it ends in Amot HaShachar, which is about an hour before sunrise. Ma'aser bo bano b'beis hamishtet. There was a case that the sons of Rabbi Gamliel came from a chasana. Amru lo, they said to Rabbi Gamliel, lo karino es Shema. As of yet, we didn't read Kriya Shema yet. What should we do? Amar lehem. So Rabbi Gamliel said, Im lo ala Amot HaShachar chavim atem likros. If it wasn't Amot HaShachar yet, an hour before sunrise, then you're chayav to read Kriya Shema. And the Chachamim agreed to this point, and the Chachamim agreed that this is the chiyuv ends at Amot HaShachar, and they only gave chatzos as a as a precaution, so people should say it earlier. The Mishnah will say it. And this is not the only case that Chachamim said until Chatzos. But all cases where the Chachamim said until Chatzos, the mitzvah really lasts until Amot HaShachar. If you gave a korban during the day and you sprinkled the blood on the mizbeach during the day, you have to burn the fats of that korban that day, and also it's burned the following night. And the limbs of the korban for a korban ola, a korban that's completely burned on the mizbeach, is also burned that day and the following night, and its mitzvah is until Amot HaShachar. And all korbanos that are to be eaten only for one day, for instance, a korban toda, so you can eat it that day and the following night. So its mitzvah to eat that korban is until Amot HaShachar. But the Chachamim said you should eat it before Chatzos. So im kein lama chachamim ad Chatzos. So why did the Chachamim give the criteria until Chatzos if the mitzvah, the raisa from the Torah, is until Amot HaShachar? So he said, Kedei lahachi adam min avera. It's in order to prevent people from being careless and pushing off the time more and more until it's after Amot HaShachar, and then it will be too late to do the mitzvah. So they said we should do the mitzvah at least by Chatzos.
Waiting, we mentioned Sandy Ronan, who's sitting over here on table 5, has tickets for the local Siyum HaShas with him. So if anybody needs tickets, please see Sandy tonight. full price or discounts in? Our second sponsor of the Siyum is Beis Medrash LaTorah, which under the leadership of its Rosh HaYeshiva is today one of the premier yeshivas in the United States. The Rosh HaYeshiva is a man that always has time to say hello and always greet you with a warm and ready smile. It's my pleasure to call upon Harav Shlomo Merkelstein.
Mazel Tov to Rabbi Bekofer and his Chavre Shiur. Mazel Tov is for a tremendous accomplishment of Siyum HaShas. I want to wish them, all of them, to be zoiche to finish the Shas again. And to Rabbi Bekofer, I want to see him in the Siyum of the Yerushalmi.
Only 3.5 more years.
Sifri, Sifro. Once a month, in Kiddush Levone, we say, Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Sholem, Shalom Aleichem, Aleichem Sholem. And the question is, why to say Shalom Aleichem? Mishneh Berurah brings that Shalom Aleichem comes because the pasuk that we say before is Tipol Aleh Memosor Fachad, and Mimele about us, Klal Yisrael, to us will be Sholem. But Lichoira, why we need to say it to 3 people? Shalom Aleichem to the same person. What is the union of saying it to 3 people? Another shaila that everyone has, it's about Agodah Shel Pesach, once a year, not once a month. Steht in der Agodah, אילו קרבנו לפני הר סיני דיינו, ולא נעשה לנו את התורה, דיינו. To come, to stand in front of our Sinai, and not to mekabel Torah, what does it mean dayenu? What, we are going as a tourist to see our Sinai? What does it mean to stand next to our Sinai and not to mekabel Torah? It's a medrash in Parshas Nitzovim. Steht in the medrash, שישראל אגודו HaShas מקבלים פני שכינו. Only when Klal Yisrael is in one unit, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu is appeared to Klal Yisrael. That's the time of Akbolas Pnei Shechina. Steht in Parshas Yisrael, ויחן ישראל כנגד האור, כאיש אחד, בלב אחד. The Rachaim wants to say that the כאיש אחד, בלב אחד, the Achdus, is a tnai, is a condition to Kabbalas HaTorah. Because חרב על הבתים בנויאלו, you cannot sit by yourself and to learn Torah. אדרבה, steht בנויאלו, ולא יודע לה שמתאפשים. You need chabura to learn. But I want to say that maybe according to the Medrash, ויחן ישראל כנגד האור, באיש כאיש אחד, בלב אחד, is a tnai to Agbolas Pnei Shechina. And when Klal Yisrael stood next to our Sinai, it was two inyonim. It was Akbolas Pnei Shchine, and it was Kabbalas HaTeire. And ממילא אילו קרבנו לפני הר סיני, ולא ינוסה לנו את התורה דיינו, because אין החינמי, without the Kabbalas HaTeire, but לכל הפוחס, we had Akbolas Pnei Shchino. If that's the case, when we are saying in Kiddush Levone, Sholem Alechem Alechem Sholem, it's not stam. Because in every month, stating the Kiddush Levone, Ilmole lo zochu Yisrael, le'akbil pnei avim shebashomayim, pam achas b'chodesh dayom. Every month we have Akbolas Pnei Shchine. To have Akbolas Pnei Shchine, we need Achdus. To create the Achdus, we say Sholem Aleichem, Alechem Sholem, Sholem Aleichem, Alechem Sholem. That's the creation of Achdus, and then we can mekabel Pnei Shchine. The Maharam Shapira Milublin, when he came with the idea of Daf Yomi, it was not only to learn a blot a day. It was the idea of Achdus, that a man from Tel Aviv and a man from Chicago, a man from Moscow and a man from New York can learn the same day, the same blot. And if they will come together to a HaShas in Eretz Yisrael, or to Bar Mitzvah in Chicago, they can sit together and to learn the same blot. Baruch Hashem, through his creation of Achdus, we see today, during the Siyumim, we see a lot of Kvod, Ribui Kvod Shamayim. It's Erev Rosh Hashanah. And Erev Rosh Hashanah, we need the Achdus, because we are going to Mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh Hashanah, and to Amlochas HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we need the Achdus. Yachad Shivti Yisrael, Vayi Bishur Melech, Yachad Shivti Yisrael, we need the Achdus to Mamlich HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Mimele, what I want to say is the broche, that now, in the end of the Siyum HaShas, in the beginning of Limud HaShas, now is the time to be part of the lomdim, to be the Yachad, and we hope that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on the Yom Adin, will write all of us to Chaim Tovim, to Ksiv Chesem Tevet, to a good gebenchte Yor and a gesund Yor, Shana Toivu.
Our final speaker on the formal program is Rabbi Bechhofer. It's an appropriate time to thank the dinner committee, because really Rabbi Bechhofer was the impetus behind the dinner. I say Rabbi Bechhofer, I somehow think maybe Shani was involved there too. Not sure, but I think so. Not just that we had it. Anybody could have perhaps thought of that. The level, it had to be HaShas. And that's the level that I think we had, and he gets the credit for that also. All the members of the Shiur participated in planning the dinner. Some brought pop, some brought wine, some brought ideas, but one thing everybody did, and that was vote on the menu. I have to give a special yashikoyach to, still hasn't sat down tonight, Steve Katz. Really took care of the reservations and took care of the food arrangements and did a terrific job. I also have to thank Art Lubin, who took care of all the physical setup of a plant. I mean, Art does that kind of thing all the time, whether it's a chalkboard or a coffee pot or whatever it is. I think he must miss half the Shiur, always fetching and caring for us. without further ado, let me call on Rabbi Bechhofer for his remarks.
Before I begin the formal part of my drasha, I'd like to thank many people, but of course, before we thank all the people who are involved, we have to give shevach v'alodaya l'HaKadosh Baruch Hu, shechiyonu v'kimonu v'kiyonu l'azman hazeh, hodu l'Adonai ki tov ki ulam chazdo. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has granted us all the schus to go through HaShas. He gave us the Torah HaKadosh for us to learn and to grow in, and He gave us a sense of chiyus, which is unparalleled, in which we experience each and every morning, whether it's nida or whether it's brachas. And as Rabbi Schusterman mentioned before, particularly krisus, we really felt that one very strongly. Those who remember krisus can't forget it. And it's a tremendous chus which HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave Am Yisrael to be the Am Segula and to be the Am HaNivchar and to be able to learn Torah's Hashem Yisbarach and achieve great levels of Kedusha. And we owe HaKadosh Baruch Hu HaKaras HaTov for everything. K'hem Chayenu V'Arach Yameinu. I'd like also to thank all the members of the Daf Yomi who come each day, day in, day out. Some from the very beginning, some joined in the middle. And it's a tremendous chus to confront every morning such a powerful and aggressive shiur. In fact, I want you to know perhaps the greatest celebration tonight is the fact that we're 2.5 blocks ahead. This has never happened before, and we have to send 2 chaverim to Eretz Yisrael in order to achieve it. And they know who they are. And I like to go through the room, and I go through the room one by one and note all the members of Daf Yomi by table. Rabbi Yosef Davis, Rabbi Moshe Davis. I know the Kohanim's names, Reb Shlomo Reb Doiv, Katz, and, right, did I get it right? And Rabbi Merzel, and Reb Baruch Yehuda Reb David Khan, Mr. Zuger, and David Ryan, and Moshe Shapiro next to him, and let's see what's the next table, Rabbi Feder, and Reb Ruven Feder, who is the Sunday morning Sar HaMashkim. If you want to come to one day a week, we get Starbucks coffee on Sunday morning. That is the day to come. And as mentioned before, the Associate Maggid Shiur, Dr. Jeffrey Zeller, and Mr. Menachem Emanuel, and continuing around the room, there's the regular Sar HaMashkim, day in, day out, Dr. Svindel. We couldn't survive without him. And then there is, at the table at the end, there's Rev. Mitch Morgenstern, and Mr. Moskowitz, and of course Dr. Ruben, and Rabbi Eckstein. Welcome. Special from Sweden. I think that's where they caught you. China. Is that where you came back from? China. And of course, standing here in the middle, Roberto Marilus. And there are a couple who are not here tonight. Mr. Ray, who was here previously, and I think also we should mention one of our founding members, Mr. Rappaport, who came home today from a nursing home and was not able to make it here tonight, but comes day in, day out whenever he's capable of doing so. And I think I got everybody. Is there anybody whose table I missed? Art Lubin, I got. And it's again, as I said, it's a tremendous chus to face every morning such a tremendous oilam. I don't know where one can get such a high level of dibuk chaverim and pilpul chaverim, and such a geschmack in the give and take which we have each and every day. And that is why our trademark is to be 4 blocks behind all the time. And it's a great pleasure to be those 4 blocks behind. I'd also like to thank, particularly as Mr. Khan did previously, I'd like to thank my parents. My father came from New Rochelle, my mother came from Far Rockaway. It's a great schus and an honor to have you here tonight. And of course, living in the Midwest, we've become extremely close, as the members of my Daf Yomi can attest, to my in-laws in Detroit. It seems, I'm sure, to them as if I'm there every Monday and Thursday. It's not quite that often, but we are very close, and it's a great privilege to be able to have a home in the Midwest in Detroit. And I really am appreciative that you came here this evening. And of course, it's important for us to thank both the shul, which gives us the home and hosts us every day, and gives us the minyanim, and puts up with us, especially hearing our voices in the morning through the wall. And of course the yeshiva, which gives me personally the wherewithal to be able to be Marbitz Torah in all the various different venues which I do so. And of course, as I mentioned several times in the Shiur, the high point of the day of my Harbatas Torah is when I come to Shiur in the morning. Finally, Achron Chaviv, I think that the greatest Hakara Satov which I owe here is to my wife. And I saw in the Jewish Observer, this past Jewish Observer, they were selling as a gimmick for the people who are Messiah Daf Yomi necklaces. It says Shaliva Shalachem Shalom. And I figured, wow, this is a great thing. And I realized she's not going to wear it anyway. So what's the point of getting it? But those of you who know my wife know that she's extremely busy, and day in, day out, she has a tremendous amount of tirdus, and never once has she posed in any way, shape, or form, or asked me to refrain from any issue in our Batzos Torah. She's always supporting me and always, she's not pushing me out the door at that early hour in the morning, but making sure that I can do everything to learn and to be Marbitz Torah, and encouraging me in all aspects, no matter what the difficulties are. And I'd like to thank her very much in public. When we come to Siyum HaShas, it behooves us to discuss all the Slorim, all Shisha Slorim, which of course we've traversed, and we began traversing again this evening. We'll Hashem continue tomorrow morning at 6:30. You should all be there. If you can't be there tomorrow, we start again on Monday. And I believe we have to find a common thread which runs through all of Torah Sheba'al Peh, all of Torah Talmud Bavli. And in order to do so, we really have to start from the last Gemara, the Gemara which we're in Messiah this evening. And Tosfos at the very end of the Masechta says that the last bit of Agadata, Tana Devel Yo Kol Hashana Halachos B'chol Yom Muftach Lo Shuben Olam Haba, is just a tack on. It's just put on because we don't want to be Messiah with the obscure halachas of Siva and of Nida. They don't read well out of Siyum. So therefore, we wanted to end with something, a dover, to Agadata, Tana Devel Yo. But the Tzaddik points out that this cannot be the complete explanation. Because in fact, we find in Megillah, the same Gemara associated with Tana Devel Yo. And a very interesting thing there. The Gemara in Megillah says, I have it written down on the handout which you have, that when Reish Lakish was going on the way, he came to a river, and when he came to the river, he needed to cross, but he couldn't get across himself. And an individual came and said, I'll carry you across. And as the individual was carrying him across, the Reish Lakish asked him, what do you do? And the individual said, I've learned through 4 of the Storim, for the 4 Sijay Mishnah, which are commonly learned. And Reish Lakish said, if you have learned through the 4 Storim, you're carrying me on your back, throw me into the water immediately. So he says, no. The man said, nonetheless, I would like to hear what you have to say. So that's why I'm carrying you. I want to hear what you have to say. So Reish Lakish said, if that's the case, then let me teach you halacha. Which halacha should I teach you? I want to teach you the following halacha. That Benos Yisrael Yichmiru al Atzmam, the daughters of Israel machmir upon themselves, that instead of keeping, as the Doraisa tells us, only 7 days of Nida, without the Shiva Nakim, without the 7 clean days, the Benos Yisrael were machmir upon themselves, the daughters of Israel accepted 7 clean days, even on Tipas Dam Kichardo, no matter how much blood they see. And then the Gemara goes on to say, Tana Devel Yo Kol Hashana Halachos B'chol Yom. There seems to be a connection. Furthermore, the Gemara in Brachos speaks about, brings down that a person should be oimed lispalo mitoch davar shel halacha. A person should get up to daven out of something which has to do with halacha. And the Gemara says, what kind of halacha? And the Gemara brings down the same halacha of Bnei Yisrael were machmir al atzma, to be yoshev shiva nakim even on tipas dam kechardo, for a drop of blood. So as a tzaddik, we see that the halachas of nida are the classic, the archetype, the paragon of halacha. Whenever we bring down Tzana the Belly, always bring down the halachas of nida, and when we speak about halacha, then we bring down that halacha of nida as well. The Tzaddik explains, and I did put this on the sheet as well. The Tzaddik says that the Siyum of the Talmud in nida is with the last Masechta is with nida, because it says about nida in the Masechta and Daf Lamed Aleph that the reason why the mitzvah of nida was given was in order for a husband and wife to feel a sense of renewal every month, that there should be a special chiba, it shouldn't become a habit. And says Reb Tzadok, V'zeu ikar kol ha-Torah kula. This is the primary concept behind the entire Torah. The concept behind the entire Torah is to constantly find a sense of renewal, a sense of upliftment, a sense of ascent, a sense of hisalus and veikus in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, each day b'chol yom kichadoshim. That's why Nida is the last Masechta. And that's why the halacha, which was chosen as the paradigm of all the halachas, is this Chumrah B'nos Yisrael. To make sure, we don't know exactly why the B'nos Yisrael machmir last one, but it certainly increases the chibah. It certainly increases the precious relationship between husband and wife. The fact that a woman is a nida each and every month. And says Reb Tzadok, as I said, this is the primary focus of Kol HaTorah Kula. The entire focus of Torah was there should be a darkness, there should be a hester, there should be a distance between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael, between the neshama and its source. And we should overcome that distance. And we should work. And we should constantly ascend and feel that new renewed sweetness, that chiddush, each and every day. And in this sense, we can go ahead and understand the Siyum of each and every one of the 6 Sidorim in Talmud Bavli. There's Gemara in Shabbos. Gemara in Shabbos says, and here you have a photocopied on the front, that Reish Shabbos Daf Lamed Aleph, Reish Lakish said, brought down a pasuk from Yeshaya. Mai Yichsiv. What is that which it says? This pasuk, what does it mean? It has 6 terms here. Emunas, zeh Seder Zroim, the first Seder in Shas. Itecha, zeh Seder Moed, the second Seder in Shas. And so on. Chosen, zeh Seder Noshim. Yeshuos, zeh Seder Nezikin. Chachmas, zeh Seder Kachim. The Das, zeh Seder Taros. Nonetheless, says the Gemara, after all this is said and done, finally, the pasuk goes on and says, Yiras Hashem Otzarot. The true treasure is Yiras Hashem. Let's go through each one of the stars and what they represent. The first Seder is Seder Zroim and Munas. Chazal tell us, the Tosfos brings down there, actually at Shabbos, that a farmer has to have a great degree of emunah because he plants a seed in the ground, and the seed rots in the ground, and for several months it's hidden from his eyes until finally it grows to the ground, grows out, and forms a plant. It takes a long time, and a farmer has to have emunah that despite the fact that there's darkness, despite the fact that the physical substance of the world is a barrier to see the processes, to bars one from seeing the processes which are occurring behind the scenes, nonetheless, he believes it's going to come out. So too, the physical substance of the world creates a barrier between us and Ruchnius, between us and our perception of the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We have to be able to overcome that. Seder Zroim gives us the means to overcome that. How do we overcome it? By the mitzvos hatuyos ba'aretz. By the mitzvos which have to do with every step of the way. Grow it when we grow and when we harvest the crop, keeping all those mitzvos which are involved. And when we eat and we engage in the physical world by making a bracha. And the end of Seder Zroim, in Talmud Bavli, there's only one Masechta in Zroim and Talmud Bavli, which is brachas, brings down that Rabbi Chia Barashi said in the name of Rav, Talmidei Chachamim ein lehem menucha lo ba'olam hazeh v'lo ba'olam haba. Talmidei Chachamim have no rest, not in this world and not in the world to come. And then he brings out a pasuk to prove this. Then the Gemara continues and says, Rabbi Loz and Rabbi Chanina, Talmidei Chachamim marbim sholom ba'olam. Talmidei Chachamim bring about more peace in the world, Shneimar v'chol b'nayich, v'ludei Hashem v'rav sholom b'nayich, etc., etc. The 2 ideas stressed here, which are really the same idea. What do we do? What are we supposed to do with the chomrius of the world, the substance of the world? We're supposed to use it to build. Talmidei Chachamim take the substance and they don't just build physical edifices with it, but they build binyanim of ruchnius. And this is an avodah which each and every day has a new test and has new raw materials and brings an individual new challenges. And that's why tzaddikim ein lehem menucha, but not just in olam hazeh, but even olam haba. A person has to really only experiences happiness, joy, and the sweetness of ascent and coming close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if there is no menucha, there's no resting on one's laurels. When one finishes a Masechta, one goes on to another Masechta. When one finishes one part of Torah, one goes on to another part of Torah. When one finishes building here, one goes on to build somewhere else. That's the process of constant Chidush. The next Seder is Seder Moed. Seder Moed is Itecha. Itecha means times, seasons. And here we talk about the barriers between HaKadosh Baruch Hu and Klal Yisrael, which are set up by being not all the time Shabbos, not all the time Yom Tov. It's very easy on a Shabbos or Yom Tov to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Shabbos is designed for. That's what Yom Tov is designed for. The concept of Aliyah L'Regel was Liros Pnei Hashem, to come before Hashem and come and experience a special degree of closeness and proximity of Vekas HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But one goes most of the time through the dreary day-to-day life of a weekday. And therefore, there's a hester, which has to be overcome. And Chazal tell us, how does one overcome that hester of a mundane daily existence? At the end of Seder's Moed, Chazal tell us the last Gemara Masechta Chagiga, Am Rabbi Avo, Am Rabbi Lazar, Talmidei Chachamim ein ur shel Gehenom shel letes b'hem. Talmidei Chachamim are not overcome by the fire of Gehenom. Kavachomer min salamandra. We learn from a certain creature which can survive forest fires. Uma salamandra, shetoledes eishi, which comes from the fire. Hasach midama ein ur sholetes bo. Somebody who puts on its blood does not become affected by fire. Talmidei Chachamim shekol gufanesh. The entire body is a fire. And then the Gemara goes on to discuss how that applies not just Talmidei Chachamim, but even Poshe Yisrael can avert the Eish Shel Gehenim. What is the fire of a Talmid Chacham? The Ritcha D'Oraisa D'Kameratach Bei. The constant boiling, the constant sense of renewal, just like the bubbles boil out of the water constantly. Every moment brings a new bubble to the surface, brings a new sense, a new fervor, a new hislavus. That's what one has to take from a Yom Tov. The Eish, the fire, the hislavus of a Yom Tov, one has to take to the rest of the year and feel a sense. I was mechadish myself on a Yom Tov. Let's make sure, at least on a miniature scale, that Chiddush goes on. I constantly strive to renew myself and come to new chiba vis-a-vis HaKadosh Baruch Hu each and every day. That's how we confront the eating away from Hashem. Then we come to Seder Noshim. Seder Noshim is called Chosen. Chosen means strength. And of course, when we talk about Noshim, we're talking about the potential pitfalls of taivas in this world. Falling sway to one's desires. And the Torah tells us how to avert those desires by being mekadesh our taivas and engaging in them in ways which uplift them and make them holy. And at the end of Seder Noshim, we're told how an individual can do that. How can you constantly go through life and make sure not to succumb to your taivas? Says the Torah, there's only one, says the Chazal, there's only one craft which would constantly renew you. This is how I get interrupted in Daf Yomi every morning. Only a more intelligent question. So, how do we get a constant renewal each and every day? How do we get a constant sense of source of strength to face the pitfalls and dangers of taivas and overcome them? We get that sense. You want the mic? We get the sense, starting early. We get the sense from our from our craft. What the Gemara says, Tanya Rabbi Roy Omer, Meniachani kol umunu shaboilam, I forsake all crafts in the world. Veini melamed es b'nei Torah. The only craft I teach my son is Torah. Why is that? He goes on to describe that all other umnus do not provide a person with a constant renewal and a constant source of strength. But Torah, on Torah, what does it say when he's young? V'koyvi Hashem yachlifu koach. He'll constantly have renewal from it. Yalu Aver Kinesharim. B'ziknusu ma'omer, or yinuvun b'seva d'sheinim v'ranan you. What gives the individual the choseh, the strength to withstand all the nisyonos, the umnus, that one craft which constantly keeps a person dashein, ranon, fresh, and ready to do battle. Nuchamto shel Torah. Then we go to the next Seder. The next Seder is Seder Nezikin. Nezikin is called Yeshuos. And Seder Nezikin discusses the hester, barriers which come between ourselves and HaKadosh Baruch Hu because of shortcomings in Be'odam L'Chaveru. We know that Be'odam L'Chaveru is more important than Be'odam L'Makom. And Seder Nezikin speaks about all sorts of possible disputes, theft, damages. Good idea. Theft and damages, which a person causes his friend. And there, Chazal tell us how is a person supposed to overcome these hesterim, which come between himself and Hashem, by making sure to learn the proper halachas, by making sure to keep the proper sense of judgment, by making sure, but more than that. There's a very interesting Gemara at the end of Seder Nezikin. It says that the Abaye and Rav and Rabbi Zeir and Rabbi Bar Masna have a yasmer, they're sitting, they need a Rosh Hashiva. They want to decide who would be the Rosh Hashiva. They said, called the Amar Milsa V'lo Mafrich, anybody can say a shtickle Torah, and he can't be slugged up, every ratio. He'll be the Rosh Hashiva. T'chul Ifrich, everybody was disproved, Abaye lo Ifrich. Abaye wasn't disproved. Chazi Rabbi Abaye, the Gova ratio, so Abaye saw, Rabbi saw Abaye that his head was uplifted, and there's several interpretations of this. But Amar Lei, Pashup Shabbos, he said, Nachmeni Psach Be'ema, you should be the Rosh Hashiva. And then the Gemara goes on and says, Iboilu, Rabbi Zeir, Rabbi Bar Masna, which of them is superior? Rabbi Zera Charifu Makshe, Rabbi Zera was sharp and he asked a lot of questions. Rabbi Bar Masna Masunu Maisik, he was temperate and deliberate and would come to conclusions at the end. And the Gemara ends, of course, take it. What is the Gemara stressing here? The end of Seder Nezikin stresses we have to have chiddush. We have to have somebody who can say a shiur kloli, a shiur with a chiddush in it. What type of shiur is better? What type of chiddush is better? Is it a chiddush which is choli kumakshe, or chiddush which is muslim umesik? But the Gemara knows what is the core value which we're looking for, that this person can lead us all in constantly being mechadish and constantly finding new levels of Torah to which to aspire. And we know that Chazal tells us, haroitza lahachkim, yasok ben nezikin. These halachas are what lead an individual to have the capacity to come up with new horizons of Torah each and every time. And of course, the proper conduct ben adam l'chavero brings to Yeshuos. The Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam. The Beis HaMikdash will be rebuilt because of proper ben adam l'chavero, which is learned from the Seder Nezikin. Then we come to Seder Kachim. Seder Kachim is called Chachmas. And the end of Seder Kachim, again in Talmud Bavli, the last Masech in which there's Gemaras is Tamid, and not all of Tamid has Gemaras, but the last Gemara in Tamid says, Tana Rabbi Chia, Kol Eisek b'Torah b'Layla, anybody who learns Torah at night, Shechina Kenegdo. The divine presence is opposite him. Shnei Amaret, it says, Kumironi b'Layla l'Rosh Hashmoros, who rise and learn Torah at night, Shivchi kamayim libech nochach b'nei Hashem. And then the Gemara brings down, interestingly, the same Gemara which we had at the end of Brachos, which is Kol B'nai Limudei Hashem. What's Kachim? Kachim is Chachmas. What is Chachmas? In Aramaic, you learn Yerushalmi, you learn Aramaic. Chachmas means, in Aramaic, to be makir. Chakimle means you'll be makir. And what does Kachim serve to do? It serves to give us a hakara, a recognition of Zek Heli Van Vei. The entire process of Karbanos, of coming to the Beis HaMikdash, was to provide a hakara of Hashem. That's what a korban is for. And it's interesting, there is a parallel between Sroim and between Kachim. And perhaps this is why they end the same way. Because in Sroim, we deal with the chomrius, the physical substance of this world that grows. And in Kachim, we deal also with the physical substance of the world, that which lives, the tzameach and the chai. And we use both of them. In Sroim a certain way, and here in another way, perhaps a higher way, to come close to a recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The problem is that in our day and age, we have no capacity to be chachimle in that sense. We don't have the Beis HaMikdash. What do we have? Comes Rabbi Chia at the end of Kachim and says, how are we chachim, how are we makir Hashem? How can we have a recognition of the Shekhinah, of the divine presence, by, in the Laila, in the Hester, in the difficulty, in the Choshech, rising to the occasion and involving oneself in the fervent pursuit of Torah, the diligent pursuit of Torah constantly, Baloroni Balayla, L'Rosh Hashmoros. That way, by being Shofech Lev, Keneged Pnei Hashem, we can renew our relationship with Hashem and be Zoiche to the Or of Shechina, even in the Hester Panim of the goats. Finally, we come to Seder Taros. our Siyum this evening. And Seder Taros, I believe, the Taro when the Beis HaMikdash existed, of course, let me start with the name of the Seder. The name of the Seder is Das. We know in Kabbalah, Das connotes Ruach HaKodesh, a special relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which transcends the simple recognition, even the recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu by being in the Beis HaMikdash in Yom Kippur. It's an internal bond with Hashem, a unique, divine, transcendent connection with each and every Jew has within themselves. The problem is that the way it was once accessed is by Tahara. Without Tahara, it's very hard to access. In fact, it's brought out a very interesting thing, that when Rabbi Shmuel Kohen Gadol used to have an Aliyas Neshama, when he used to meditate and go up to Shamayim and see all the Olamos, all the Yonim, and all the Echolos. So the way they used to bring him back down to earth is by touching him with the garment which came from a woman who was in Nisa. Without the Tahara, without that unique, uplifted sense of being close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which one can achieve only once one undergoes the Parah Aduma and Mikvah and Mayim Chaim, it's very hard. It's very difficult to come close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's very hard to have the Das. But how do we achieve the Das in our situation? When we are B'vchinas Nida, when we are Dava, how do we achieve that and how do we turn that? Rizal says, you turn around Dava and you get old. How do we achieve a little bit of that splendor of the Beis HaMikdash? The Gemara ends, in that state of darkness, of Hester, we can still bring a great sense of sweetness by being Shona Halachos B'chol Yom. Shona Halachos, the Lashon of Shona, is a Lashon of Shinui. Shinui means to change, but it also obviously means in this sense that each and every day is a new day. It's different than the previous day. There's a sense of Chiddush, a sense of Isalus, a sense of uplifting oneself, a sense of growing higher and higher. And such a person, the Gemara ends, is a Ben Olam Haba. It doesn't mean that this is the way to get to Olam Haba. There are many ways to get to Olam Haba. There are many mitzvahs, Baruch Hashem. There's a lot of Torah to be learned. There are a lot of drachim. When it says, Hareid Muftach Ben Olam Haba, it means Olam Chatire B'chayecha. It means a person has a bechina. A person lives on the higher level, on a level which is transcendent, a level which is divine, a level which a person can be makir, come close to the Hakara of Hashem and come close to an internal idea of Hashem, even in the darkness of Golus, even in the lack of the Beis HaMikdash, even in the lack of Tara. That's how the Gemara ends, and that's how the Gemara sums up all of Shas. And Shas, the Shas which we're dealing with this evening, is Talmud Bavli. Talmud Bavli was written in Bavel. Bavel, Chazal tell us, is a dark land. B'machshachim hoshivani timsei olam. Zeh Talmud Shabavel. Talmud Bavli was V'mimaka atzma misakin retiyah. From the wound itself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made a bandage. What is the wound? The wound is Golus and it's dark. And it's difficult to find Hashem. And it's difficult for us to feel close to Hashem. And it's difficult for us to achieve Dveikus and HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the state of Golus. But Talmud Bavli was the intensive effort of Chazal to be able to give us each a way, and in Daf Yomi, each and every day, to be able to transcend it. To come from the Choshech, as Reb Tzadok's favorite Zohar, Leika Nehora Ki Ahina Nafik Migoch HaShocha. There's no sweeter light than the light which comes out of the darkness. That's what we're looking for in Talmud Bavli. And to conclude in this sense, Reb Avram Elia Kaplan brings down, those who know me know that the Daf I quoted Reb Tzadok and Reb Avram Elia this evening. The Reb Avram Elia Kaplan brings down it's not in the Sefer to be considered in the Talmud. He brings down something which he heard from Reb Avram Kamenovich. We heard it from Reb Rafal Shapiro, the last Rosh Hashiva of Volozhin. We have an Al Naroz Bavel in Tehillim. It's not Al Naroz Bavel. It's a different Tehillah. It says that Bas Bavel Hashiduda Ashrei Sheishalim Loches Kamuleh. And there's a very, very difficult. That means that we were looking for Bas Bavel Hashiduda to get its comeuppance. And it's a very difficult passage. Who is Bas Bavel Hashiduda? And Reb Avram Elia brings down from Reb Fol Shapiro that we find in Chazal that the Yerushalmi, which Amir to Hashem, someday we'll make a Siyum as well, if Hashem gives us the koyach. We find in Yerushalmi that Bas sometimes means a Talmidah, a student. And the pasuk is referring to the Talmidah of Bavel Hashiduda. Bavel was already destroyed many years earlier. If you look at that Tehillah, the structure of Tehillah begins talking about Bavel, and then it goes on to Zchor Hashem Livnei Adom as Yom Yerushalayim. And then David HaMelech with his Ruach HaKodesh began speaking about goats, Edom are current goats. And he says, Edom, their Bas Bavel Ashaduda, they are the daughter. They are the direct spiritual descendant. They are the continuation of Bavel. They learned from Bavel their destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. So everything, the entire Churban, comes from Bavel, and Bas Bavel Ashaduda is a continuation of that Churban. Therefore, since everything comes from Bavel, and that's the Makkah, and that's the Choshech, the refor for that comes from the Talmud, which comes from Bavel to fight that Choshech, Talmud Bavli, and we should be zoich in our learning of Talmud Bavli to see the kiyum of that pasuk and to see the Binyan Beis Hamikdash and the conclusion of the pasuk, Yiras Hashem Hiotzoro, when we will be able to come to the ultimate treasure of Yiras Hashem, which is what we strive for. Yira means to be roeh p'nei Shechina, to have a direct relationship. Ruin the dramatic moment. to have a direct relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to be roeh p'nei Hashem b'Beis Hamikdash, and the Binyan Bayis Shlishi, prepare of Yameinu Amen.
The evening, Rabbi Bechhofer had no participation. It's a tribute to our Magi Shiur. There'll be 3 short presentations. The first one will be by our spark plug. This individual is the one we call upon if we have to have a collection for an ad, if somebody has to arrange a brunch for a Siyum, finish the Seder HaShas, or if you need moving pictures taken at a Siyum HaShas, you call on him. The person that sits in the Shiur and always has his seat, the right-hand side of the Rav, and is a very close friend of Rabbi Bechhofer, Harry Merlis.
Okay. Thought I lost my prepared remarks, but I have them. Be very short, believe me. 7.5 years ago, Shalom Menorah, I think all of you know who he is, but for those who don't, he's a longtime member of the Shul, now lives in Eretz Yisrael. He basically, you could say, founded learning in the morning here at 6:30 when he moved to Chicago. 7.5 years ago, Shalom Menorah approached me about coming to Shiur here on a daily basis in the morning at 6:30. I told him that it sounded like a wonderful idea, but I just couldn't get up that early on a daily basis. But he kept after me, and I kept turning him down. Meanwhile, Shalom kept experimenting with different scenarios and finally decided to ask Brisk Yeshiva if there was anyone who would be interested in giving a daily Shiur. Rabbi Yosef Bechhofer was in the Brisk Kollel at the time. He consented to giving a Shiur in Yisavas Bava. At about that time, the night Siyum HaShas was about to take place, and of course, the new cycle was about to begin. And Shalom was still after me to start coming. It was decided that Rabbi Bechhofer would start giving a Shiur in Daf Yomi. At my son Meir's urging, along with the rest of my family's encouragement, I decided to try it out. After all, the attraction of being able to learn all of Shas before breakfast in the morning on a daily basis, albeit over a period of 7.5 years, seemed like a very exciting prospect to this old yeshiva buffer. I figured I would try it out the first day, and if I liked it, I'd go back the next day and maybe the day after that. Well, after that first day, I never looked back. Rabbi Bechhofer's brilliance and exciting style of delivery and giving Shiur immediately cemented my devotion to both the Shiur and the Maggid Shiur. He makes learning Gemara not only educational, but fun. Even the most tedious Gemara would be enhanced by the breadth of his knowledge, his sense of humor, and an occasional Reb Tzadok. One of the biggest attractions for me is his intellectual honesty. He's never afraid to admit he is wrong when proven so, but will defend his position until the end if his intellect tells him he's right. And very few Magidei Shiur would allow the kind of irreverence put forth by the Balabati who attend the Shiur. As I've said many times to many different people, the highlight of my day is the morning Daf Yomi I learn with Rabbi Bechhofer. Rabbi Bechhofer has, during these past 7.5 years, made quite an impact here in the city and even worldwide. His taped lectures at the Frumi Noble Kollel, which he heads, are in demand all over the world. He has been a scholar in residence in many cities across the nation, and his publications, most notably his Kuntres in English on Eruvin in large metropolitan areas, are sought after all over the world. He's in constant demand by various respected journals of Jewish thought to author articles on various and eclectic subjects, and has indeed authored many insightful articles. His Ezer Kenegdo Shani, who is a rising star in her own right, has taken over the burden of running the principal's office at Hannah Sachs Beis Yaakov on very short notice, and has done a magnificent job under great stress. Together, this dynamic duo has really taken the city by storm. Limitations on time prevent me from singing the praises that this couple really deserve. And believe me, I've only scratched the surface of what they have contributed to the city.
Before I introduce our next presenter, let me mention who the members of our gift committee were. Ruven Feder, Harry Miralis, Eddie Merzel, Mitch Morgenstern, Jeffrey Zeller, Joel Zuger, and myself. Sounds impressive. Jeff, it's just special thanks very quickly to Jeff Zeller. He was really our idea person. And Mitch Morgenstern handled our money, though I have to tell you, we were a little nervous when a week before the Siyum, he went on a vacation. Thank God he came back, wouldn't have any checks. Ruven Feder individually conceived of the idea of some mementos, our first gift, and ran with the idea from creativity to implementation. Ruven.
I was told that I could speak tonight as long as I want to, since the night is early. And so what I want to say, I'm not even going to really read my speech, but just saying that the years that I've spent at the Daf Yomi, with the group, with everybody who's there at Daf Yomi, getting up in the morning has not been a burden. It was never really a burden, although for a lot of us it is getting up that early in the morning. Because of one thing, the rabbi who teaches the Shiur, Rabbi Beckhofer, is one of our special people who in our city we should really commend. If we could have more younger light like him, really in the sense that moving up, that this would be great. What I'd like at this point, I'd like Rabbi Beckhofer to please come up. And what we have done, one of the things that we've done, and I want to first show this out here, we have actually created a plaque with most of the members who now are going to Daf Yomi, and also several of the members who were going to Daf Yomi prior and live like in Eretz Yisrael and so on. And what this says on it, it says Rabbi Yosef Gabriel Beckhofer in honor of completing Torah Siyum HaShas L 5757 by the Bnei Ruven Daf Yomi Shiur, and it lists all its members down here. There's more. There's more. Then we did something special. We had this gift that has Schaefer ribbon on it, but it's not a pen. Although I know
Because they already got me a
likes pens, but this is not a pen. This is something special, and we'd like you to open it, and then I'll continue with it. I'd like you to... Yeah, I guess it does you still have to open the gift. There's more to the gift.
Oh,
than
there's
what
more
you
than
hear.
this.
No. It is that. But,
Oh, it's this. Okay.
but let's just take this. I will help you with this. What we have done here, on the top, we have this from Rabbi Yosef Gavriel Bechhofer in honor of completing the 10th Siyum HaShas, 5757 by the Bnei Ruven Daf Yomi members. Okay, and on the face we say Yagdil Torah v'Yadir, and Yagdil, the first three letters are larger. Do you know the reason for them being larger? No, that's not Bechhofer.
Yosef
Gavriel
Ben David. Yes.
Yes.
I couldn't get that. I came up with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring up our next speaker, who, before I bring him up, I'd like to thank him very much tonight for emceeing this beautiful simcha, and he did such a beautiful job, and we should all give him a hand first before he comes up. This is for Bert Cong.
I realize that Ruven gave you a new name, now you're the Yagid. Very appropriate, I think. Now I'm here for myself, so finally I can say what I want to say. I'll be very brief. 6 years ago, I come here to daven in the morning and walk out of the shul, in the Beis Medrash, I heard this voice kind of loud. So I stood by the door, like Hillel on the roof, and I didn't go inside. I stood there really a number of mornings for a few moments, sometimes I think one morning maybe 15 minutes. And finally I ventured to go inside the room, and I never left, like Harry, never left. I won't say what I really feel towards Rabbi Bechhofer, because if I did, we'd probably both be embarrassed. So let me do instead what I sometimes do better, is let me do a gematria. We know that the number of pages, the daf, in the whole Seder, in the Bavli, is 2,711. How do I know that? Moshe Davis told me so. How does one complete that cycle of 2,711? Where's Art? We have a mathematician here, so tonight it's going to be honest, no kunzen.
I thought you were going to ask for the chalkboard.
What does one need to complete the cycle of 2,711? We need, first of all, Yosef Gavriel Ben David Bechhofer. In gematria, if you want to take a pencil and keep the count as we go along, you can. Yosef is 876. How do we do that? You can help me. The Yud is 10. The Vav is 6. Samach is 60. And the Fei Sofit is 800. In gematria Ragil, after you get to the Taf, which is 400, then the Sofit letters, there's 5 of them. The Chaf is 500, Mem Sofit 600, Nun Sofit 700, Pei Sofit 800, Tzadi Sofit 900. This is Gavriel is 246. Let's check that. The Gimel is 3, the Bet is 2, Reish is how much? 200. The Yud is 10, Aleph is 1, Lam is 30, 246. Ben is 2 and 700 is 702. David, $2 and a Vav, 14. Bechhofer, this is Bet is 2. Kuf is what? 100, Pei, 5, Vav is 6, Pei is 80, and the Resh is 200, is 393. We add up 876, 246, 702, 14, and 393 gives us 2,231. Which shows you that even Rabbi Beckhofer by himself can't do the Siyum HaShas. What is missing from 2007-11 to 2002-31 is exactly 480. So if you start to figure what is the missing ingredient, what word are we missing? You know we did a 400, right? So what's 400 is what? Tav. So 480 would be, what would start with Tav? That would be appropriate? Talmud, exactly. Talmud. So you take the 480 in Talmud, the Tav is 400, Lamed 30, Mem 40, Vav 6, Dalet 4 is 480, and the 2231 is 2711. So we see that our Maggid Shiur, together with the Talmud, can give us a Siyum HaShas. Now it gets even better. I'd like to ask Rabbi Beckhofer and Shani to please step forward. Shani's already here. She knew this was coming. The reason that we really wanted Shani to also participate in this presentation is because she, I can tell you personally, shown a great enthusiasm for this Siyum HaShas. And you have shared your husband with us in the early mornings for some 2,250 mornings when you probably would have rather shared your kids with us. Therefore, our gifts include you. First of all, this is a check in the amount of $500 to be spent in Israel. Secondly, there's a certificate here which I will read. Certificate. This is also Ruben's calligraphy. Certificate for 2 round-trip tickets to Israel with London stopover to Rabbi Yosef and Shani Beckhofer. Thank you very much.
Beyond the obvious gratitude, I just want to take it back. I just want to express that the immense amount of affection which I personally have for all the members of the Daf Yomi, and the Avas Torah, which we have together blended to an Avas Rein, a great love for each other which we have, and it makes the Daf Yomi that much sweeter every morning. And just as everybody else, I was reiterated again that this is the high point of the day, and no matter what else I do, as Rabbi Marilyn mentioned many things before, I could not do it if I didn't have this as the bedrock of my daily life, and I appreciate all this very much. Thank you.
I think what we'll do is, there is some dessert, but I think what we'll do, since people may have to go, we'll bench now, and then whoever wants to stay afterwards, and there's coffee and cake in back, is certainly welcome to stay and have some coffee and cake and schmooze a little bit.
He's right there, he's right there.
Oh, we're very pleased to have Ellie Ginsburg with us, the Kohen, and also someone that's given the shiur for us on occasion. And we'll call on Ellie to lead us, please. Lead us first in the shiur Amalos and then the Birkat HaMazon.
I did. I'm going to drink anything, dude. That's it. I'm going to throw this one. That's trash. But yeah, I know.
That's not yellow. How can we do
Rabosai Nevarech. Yehi Shem Adonai Nevarach Metaver Olam. Bershus Arav Rosh Shiva Maram Ram Rabosai Nevarech Eloheinu Shechalnu Shalom. Baruch Eloheinu Shechalnu Shalom V'tvo Chayinu. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Olam Azon Olam. Shalom V'tvo V'chein V'chesed Barak Nimun Nosein Lachem L'chol B'sar Kili Yom Chesdo V'tvo Agadol Tami Lochas Alon V'alek Tulon V'zem Leved V'avar Shmo Yirol Ki Hu El Zan V'farnes HaKol Metiv HaKol Nechim Azon L'chol B'Yosov Shebarah Baruch Atah Adonai Azon Es HaKol.
Mazel tov. Next Siyum in Yerushalayim.
Mazel tov and thank you.
Why never?
Please stay and have.
Mazel tov.
I'm going to stop by home behind.
Just one more?
Yeah. He wants to on the inside. Which grade got the medial meniscus. Which grade got